So I'm Helen. I run a business called Social for the People, which helps kind of third and public sector agencies to use social media better. That doesn't mean to push out a message better. It means to engage with communities better and to get all of that excellent resource and knowledge from communities and pull it into an organisation. So yeah, I'm very big on social, and you'll probably see that from today because I'm kind of pushing a fairly online agenda here. But I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think everyone in this room, even if you're not in marketing, can do marketing. And also a little bit of, I guess, why things have changed so much with the rise of social media and just generally online tools. So in that context, I guess, because social care is changing so much and our organisations are having to change, we're in this kind of excellent time in communications, particularly in marketing, where we have to do engagement differently. We are changing in the way that we communicate as much as we're changing our organisations and how we talk to people and how we deliver those services. I wanted to start with a little 2 stories really from my experience. The first one is when I had a comms background. I worked for a local authority called Monmouthshire in South Wales, and I was given this brief: you've got to market our hall, Shire Hall. So I kind of did the usual things. I'd get some press releases, I had my comms plan, and then I thought, well, there's this girl on the bus that's asked me to join MySpace, and MySpace was this kind of really funky thing that young people did at the time, and I was a bit younger then, so I thought, I'll have a go. And I thought, well, why not try and use this for marketing Shire Hall, to get people to raise money to make this hall stay upright, essentially. And it was an absolute eye-opener because so many people in the community went, I absolutely love that hall. I didn't realise there was any problem with it. How can I help? How can I raise money? They were delighted to be able to talk about something that was in their community. And I was delighted because people were being nice. And I was used to this idea of sticking a press release out, and then you'd get the opposing view, you'd get people moaning. You really only ever heard negative stuff. So you'd get this kind of response from people going, whoa, I'm talking to a hall, or can I do a disco in the hall and try and raise some money to keep it going? And it was just this fantastic way of thinking, well, actually, there's a new way I can directly talk to citizens now. I don't have anyone in between getting in my way, so I quite like that. The other eye-opener for me was when I was assigned a task with our social services to help foster carers to understand their role better. They'd already done some work on how can we get an online bulletin board, and we'll post up bits of information for foster carers, and it had been costed out, and it was going to take a year to build, and it was going to cost a certain amount of money, I can't even remember what. And I kind of said, well, why don't we try this tool called Yammer that I've seen. It's an internal, it's a bit like Facebook, but it's closed, so whoever you invite stays in there. And the answer was, well, it's free, is it? Just give it a go. So I went out to foster carers in Monmouthshire, showed them this tool, and they just practically bit my hand off. And there was a little bit of reluctance back in County Hall of, these people don't really use online tools. But as soon as I showed them Yammer and showed them you can talk to each other whenever you want, you can do it on your phone, you can do it at your own time, they were willing to give it a go. The upshot of this was it's the most thriving ever community that I've built. But the eye-opener for me was when I spoke to a foster carer and I said, I'm sorry, I feel like I should put more information in the group, I should be posting more. And she said, no, thank you for not doing that. We've got enough expertise within our group that we can share. You don't need to keep pushing this information to us. We are the experts, and we love you for providing this space for us. So at that point, I realised marketing isn't necessarily about being the provider of the information. It's about providing a space for people to talk and share their expertise. I know nothing about fostering, so I'm not the best person to talk about fostering in that space. So the overall theme here really is that marketing isn't about us and our organisations. It's about the people that we want to serve. It's the people that we are trying to make happier, essentially. That is our objective. So this new world that we're in is kind of totally different. In the old world, we had everyone who wanted to publish something had to have money to print. They had to have money to distribute. money to get a radio ad, whatever it was. You had to be fairly powerful to be able to communicate. We're all publishers now. If I want to reach somebody, a particular audience, I can go on Facebook right now on my phone and I can talk to them straight away with no cost. And it says interest, it'll go as far as it interests people. So we're in a different kind of age, I think, when we're all publishers. It also means that in a changing social care environment particularly, we're not in competition with other providers of services. We simply aren't. We're in competition with everything else that's on the internet. Essentially, we are in a competition for people's attention. So I had this conversation with Sheffield Council yesterday. If you're on Instagram as a council, you're in competition with pictures of Kim Kardashian's arse, essentially. Can you be interesting and informative enough that you're going to be able to compete with that kind of content? It means you've got to completely rethink what you're communicating and marketing. You've got to actually start thinking, what do they want to know? And let's give them that. I was trying to avoid doing some kind of arse gag, but I can't help it. So this old world really was that marketing belonged to marketers and that you had to have all of those tools available to you and the skills to be able to reach certain audiences. Now everybody owns that communication. If you've got access to the internet, you can do marketing yourself. In the old world, there were tons of middlemen. So if I wanted to get a news story into a local newspaper, I had to go through a reporter, I had to contact an editor, I had someone getting in my way, filtering what I was talking about. There were loads of different barriers to be able to say what you wanted to say. Now you can do it yourself. Obligatory cat photo. I always like to put a cat into presentations. We can do it ourselves, and there is a beauty in doing it yourself. There is a lot of room for professional and skilled marketing, but there's also a lot of room for our own form of communication as well. Essentially, that room is your voice and your identity, and you being able to express yourself and tell your story the way that you want to tell it without that person in the middle reshaping your story. In the old days, we were bowling in the dark. So, if the lights are off in a bowling alley and you start a campaign, you deliver that campaign, and then you turn the lights on and evaluate. And it was too late to be able to kind of say, well, what did we learn from this? Well, it's over. Now we're very much more in this kind of idea. Online, you get instant feedback. So you're doing your marketing and your community is talking back to you straight away. This is excellent because it allows you to respond to what people are saying. If you're saying something that's completely off, then fantastic, you can adjust course. It means that we can be, as marketers, far more responsive, far more flexible in where we're going. As long as we have a good idea of where we want to be, we can take a different route to get there. As long as we get there, that's the main thing. But you don't necessarily want to have this blind attitude of let's just deliver the campaign and at the end we'll work out how good it was. It's not really good enough anymore, and you haven't got the money to do that, to test things out on huge projects. This old idea of marketing was sell, sell, sell. So we've got this project, we need to get this many people involved. So everything we do has to be talking about that subject. Well, actually, no, because you're building relationships with people as a marketer. You're building communities. You need to be talking about what they're talking about as well as what you want them to know. So this sell, sell, sell is quite off-putting. And there are very good reasons for why you want to be far more engaging and not just pushing services. So this new world means be useful, be helpful. People will prefer to deal with you if you're the person who is helping them with their problems. It's a bit of a cliche, but don't sell me a camera, tell me how to take a lovely photo, and I will buy cameras from you every time. Be useful, show people exactly the kind of things that they want to know about, and they will remember you as being the credible source that they will want to take their services from. Here we are, take a picture. Thanks. And the old thing was, let's drive traffic to the website. This is our aim. We've got to get people on the website. Let's everything we do get to the website. That's not an aim. That's a technique. Your aim is to get people to be happy, to live better lives. If you're focusing on this as your objective, then you're focusing on the wrong thing. You've got to go where people go. I always use this example because I used it once. If you're doing a campaign on sexual health, you might want to go to the local Justin Bieber Facebook group, because you've got kind of the audience who might want to be talking about these issues instead of asking them to come to your website, which they're not going to do. Go where they go. So I'm running out of time. This is generally my approach, I think, to a new form of marketing. Low budget, cheap tools. Talk about what you know with your own voice. Be useful. Don't flog your ideas, and go where the people go. And thanks very much.